The journey of Blazing Saddles was marked by a series of challenges that many are unaware of. The film, while celebrated for its humor and sharp satire, faced significant hurdles during production. The studio's executives were often at odds with the creative team, leading to numerous attempts to halt the project. Concerns about the film's bold commentary on race and politics created a tense atmosphere, with censors expressing fears over potential backlash. Mel Brooks, however, remained undeterred, navigating through the chaos with a determination that would shape the film's legacy. The casting process was fraught with disagreements, and the script underwent constant revisions, reflecting the dynamic and often contentious environment. Comedians involved had to balance their comedic instincts with the sensitivities of the subject matter, resulting in a unique blend of humor that pushed boundaries. Ultimately, what emerged was not just a film, but a landmark in American cinema that challenged societal norms and redefined satire. Initially, Mel Brooks had a clear vision for the role of Sheriff Bart in Blazing Saddles. He believed that Richard Pryor, with his edgy and unfiltered comedic style, was the perfect fit for the film's daring tone. Pryor was not just a potential star. He was actively involved in the early stages of the script development. His contributions included co-writing portions of the screenplay, which infused the project with his distinct voice and humor. However, studio executives became anxious about Pryor's off-screen persona. They were troubled by his history of substance use and the controversies that surrounded him. Despite Brooks's strong insistence on Pryor's suitability for the role, the executives ultimately refused to allow him to star in the film. This decision led to a significant change in casting, resulting in Cleavon Little being brought on board. Little, a classically trained actor with a background in Broadway, was an unexpected choice at the time. Nevertheless, his sharp timing, natural charm, and incredible range elevated the role of Sheriff Bart. Little's nuanced performance not only silenced skeptics, but also became one of the most celebrated aspects of the film. The blend of sharp satire and warm humanity that he brought to the character created a groundbreaking portrayal, redefining what comedic leads could be for years to come. The role of the Waco Kid, a once legendary gunslinger reduced to a disillusioned drunk, was originally given to veteran actor Gig Young. However, on the very first day of filming, it became clear that Young was too impaired by alcohol to perform reliably, leading to an emergency recast. Mel Brooks quickly contacted Gene Wilder, who had previously starred with Brooks and the producers, and was a trusted collaborator. Wilder arrived just in time, stepping into the role with little preparation. The decision turned out to be serendipitous. Wilder's quiet, understated delivery and deep comedic instincts created a striking balance to Cleavon Little's energetic Sheriff Bart. Together, their chemistry was electric, turning two contrasting characters into a perfectly synchronized duo. Wilder's heartfelt performance not only salvaged the role, but elevated it to iconic status, proving once again his ability to blend warmth and absurdity into something deeply memorable. The Waco Kid became a beloved character, showcasing Wilder's talent and the film's unique humor. When Madeline Kahn auditioned for the role of Lily Von Shtupp in the movie Blazing Saddles, she showcased not only her impressive talent, but also her fearless charisma. Her audition became legendary, not just for her performance, but also for the unconventional request made by Mel Brooks. He asked to see her legs, wanting to ensure that she could embody the burlesque persona required for the role. Kahn complied without hesitation, demonstrating her confidence and willingness to embrace the character. Following this, she delivered a hilarious rendition of I'm Tired, a performance that would become one of the film's most quoted scenes. Her portrayal of Lily Von Shtupp was a unique blend of vulnerability, sexuality, and impeccable comedic timing, a combination that few could replicate. This remarkable performance earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Kahn's ability to embrace both the ridiculous and the sublime helped solidify her status as one of Mel Brooks' most iconic collaborators and one of the greatest scene stealers in comedy history. Before Harvey Korman stepped into the delightfully villainous shoes of Hedley Lamarr, the role was offered to Johnny Carson, the legendary host of The Tonight Show. Carson, while flattered, declined the offer, likely concerned about stepping too far from his late-night persona. This rejection opened the door for Korman, a veteran comic actor with impeccable timing and theatrical flair. Korman seized the opportunity, crafting a villain who was both menacing and hilariously pompous. His exaggerated mannerisms, deadpan delivery, and escalating frustrations with his underlings made Lamarr a perfect antagonist in Brooks' chaotic world. With lines that poked fun at Hollywood vanity and over-the-top villainy, Corman turned Lemar into a comedic masterclass. His performance remains a high point in satire, showcasing how the right actor can transform a secondary villain into one of the most memorable characters in film history. Corman's portrayal not only added depth to the character, but also highlighted the absurdity of the genre, making audiences laugh while critiquing the very tropes that defined it. While Blazing Saddles aimed for comedy, not every moment on set was lighthearted. One particularly challenging scene involved actor Burton Gilliam, delivering a racially charged line as part of the town's bigoted dialogue. Gilliam felt uncomfortable with the line's harsh language, and even considered walking away from the role. It was Cleavon Little who took him aside, explaining that the film's intent was not to demean but to expose and mock racism in its most absurd forms. Little reassured Gilliam that the scene, while difficult, had a larger purpose in using humor as a weapon against prejudice. This heartfelt exchange underscored the seriousness with which the cast approached the film's controversial material. It wasn't just about jokes. It was about pushing boundaries and forcing audiences to confront the absurdity of hate. Their mutual trust and shared vision allowed them to carry the scene with both impact and integrity, ensuring the satire landed exactly as intended. In the film Blazing Saddles, Mongo stands out as a memorable character thanks to the performance of Alex Karras. Karras, who was a former NFL defensive tackle, brought a unique charm to Mongo that went beyond his physical strength. He infused the character with a mix of innocence and unexpected humor, making Mongo oddly lovable despite his intimidating appearance. The iconic scene where Mongo punches a horse showcases this blend of physical comedy and absurdity. This moment became a hallmark of slapstick humor, perfectly capturing the film's fearless approach to the surreal. Karras's athletic background lent authenticity to Mongo's imposing presence, but it was his impeccable comic timing that truly set the character apart. He delivered absurd lines and actions with a sincerity that resonated with audiences. This performance highlighted the film's central theme that appearances can be misleading. Mongo, with his brutish exterior, revealed a depth of heart and soul that contrasted sharply with the more civilized townsfolk, making him a beloved figure in the film's narrative. Bringing Blazing Saddles to the screen was no easy ride for Mel Brooks. From the outset, Warner Brothers executives were alarmed by the film's provocative content. They feared that its relentless mockery of racism, bigotry, and Hollywood cliches would be too inflammatory for audiences. Multiple executives demanded the removal of controversial scenes, including the infamous farting sequence and numerous racially charged jokes. Brooks, however, stood his ground. He understood that the satire's power came from its willingness to say the things society was afraid to confront. Every laugh was aimed at prejudice and hypocrisy, not at the victims of it. In a bold move, Brooks promised the studio he would make the changes they requested, but never actually followed through. By the time the studio realized what had happened, the film was in its final cut. His defiance preserved the film's integrity and helped secure its place in cinematic history as one of the most fearless comedies ever made. Coming up with a perfect title for Blazing Saddles was an odyssey of trial and error. Early drafts of the script were labeled with titles such as Tex X, which was a clear nod to civil rights leader Malcolm X and signaled the film's radical edge. Another working title, Black Bart, focused directly on the main character, but felt too on the nose. The Purple Sage was also considered, but it lacked the punch and irreverence that the story demanded. Then, in a moment of inspiration, while showering, Mel Brooks had a sudden realization. The words Blazing Saddles flashed into his mind, a title that perfectly blended the imagery of Western iconography with the suggestion of fiery rebellion. It was catchy, funny, and just strange enough to pique curiosity. That flash of inspiration encapsulated everything the film stood for: a bold, unpredictable romp that lit a fire under the genre. It aimed to parody. The title became a symbol of the film's unique blend of humor and social commentary, making it memorable and impactful. When it came time to unveil Blazing Saddles to the world, Mel Brooks ensured the premiere was just as wild and tongue-in-cheek as the film itself. Held in Hollywood, the event embraced full Western flair, complete with a red carpet entrance on horseback. Guests arrived in cowboy hats and boots, greeted by waiters in saloon garb serving hors d'oeuvres shaped like miniature revolvers and horseshoes. The venue was decorated like an Old West town, complete with swinging saloon doors and hay bales. The atmosphere perfectly matched the film's irreverent, anything-goes tone. The premiere was more than a celebration, it was a statement. Brooks wanted to make it clear that this was not a typical studio comedy, but something altogether different. a high-stakes gamble that took jabs at American mythology, racism, and Hollywood traditions. The premiere's theatricality foreshadowed the kind of reception the film would soon receive, one filled with surprise, delight, and cultural disruption. The reaction at the Blazing Saddles premiere was unlike anything the studio expected. As the lights dimmed, and the first jokes landed, the theater erupted with unrestrained laughter. Viewers howled at the film's audacity, which included flatulence jokes and sharp jabs at racism and bureaucracy. Many audience members, including celebrities and industry insiders, had never seen anything like it. Brooks' brand of humor was bold, offensive, and deeply subversive, yet unmistakably brilliant. The sheer shock value alone generated buzz, but it was the film's underlying intelligence that kept people talking. Applause broke out during key scenes, and by the end, the standing ovation confirmed what Brooks already suspected: he had a hit. Word of mouth spread quickly, and despite critical skepticism from some corners, Blazing Saddles found its audience. That thunderous response turned what was once considered a risky comedy into a trailblazing phenomenon that redefined what audiences could laugh at, and why. While Blazing Saddles is packed with outrageous gags and genre parody, some of its most brilliant moments stem from deeply personal experiences. One unforgettable scene features Sheriff Bart holding a gun to his own head to escape a lynch mob. This moment may seem like absurdist comedy, but it is rooted in Mel Brooks' childhood memories of navigating a tough Brooklyn neighborhood with humor as his only weapon. Growing up as a Jewish kid during the Great Depression, Brooks learned early on that laughter could diffuse danger, distract bullies, and give power to the powerless. This lesson infused many of his films, but nowhere more sharply than in Blazing Saddles. The way Bart manipulates his aggressors with a performance of desperation and mockery mirrors how Brooks himself learned to outsmart threats with wit. These autobiographical elements lend unexpected emotional weight to the film, revealing that beneath its silliness lies a lifetime of hard-earned insight into human nature and survival. One of the most bizarre and unforgettable scenes in Blazing Saddles involves Mongo punching a horse, and this moment has an unexpected origin linked to comedy legend Sid Caesar. Mel Brooks shared that Caesar once told a wild story about a man so strong and unhinged that he punched a horse right in the jaw. This outrageous tale resonated with Brooks, who recognized its potential as a perfect mix of absurdity and shock humor. By incorporating the scene into the script, Brooks embraced Caesar's over-the-top comedic style, which had significantly shaped his own approach to humor. The surreal nature of the scene captured the film's unpredictable tone and its willingness to push boundaries for a laugh. Audiences were taken aback by the unexpected violence, which was played entirely for comedic effect, making it one of the most memorable moments in the film. Caesar's influence acted as a bridge between the golden age of television comedy and the edgier cinematic humor of the 1970s, demonstrating that the most ridiculous ideas often leave the boldest impact. Few scenes in film history have generated as many giggles and as much controversy as the infamous bean-eating campfire sequence in Blazing Saddles. On the surface, it appears to be a string of juvenile fart jokes. However, beneath this crude exterior lies Mel Brooks' brilliant commentary on sanitized Hollywood westerns. He aimed to depict cowboys in a way that was raw and honest, flipping the myth of the rugged, stoic hero into something unapologetically human. When studio executives demanded the scene be cut for being too vulgar, Brooks stood his ground. He argued that its crude humor was a bold challenge to Hollywood's self-censorship and a way to democratize comedy, proving that everyone, no matter how heroic, still farts after beans. The gamble paid off as audiences roared with laughter, and the scene became a cultural touchstone. It opened the door for broader acceptance of body humor in mainstream cinema. Today, it is hailed as a trailblazing moment in comedic history. Though denied the leading role of Sheriff Bart, Richard Pryor left an undeniable imprint on Blazing Saddles. As a credited co-writer, Pryor infused the script with his signature wit, biting social commentary, and street-smart perspective. He played a crucial role in shaping Mongo's unexpectedly profound one-liners, and contributed several of the film's boldest racial jokes, lines that only someone with Pryor's understanding of race and culture could authentically craft. His involvement gave Brooks the confidence to tackle taboo topics without coming off as exploitative. Pryor's presence in the writer's room ensured the film's satire had a raw authenticity that reflected the black experience in America. Though he never appeared on screen, his voice resonated throughout the film, guiding its tone and edge. In many ways, Blazing Saddles owes much of its lasting power to Pryor's fearless contributions behind the scenes. His ability to blend humor with serious themes helped create a film that challenged societal norms and sparked conversations about race and identity. The 1970s in America were a time of radical change. Civil rights struggles, anti-war protests, and shifting social norms were reshaping the nation's consciousness. Blazing Saddles was born directly out of this upheaval. Mel Brooks recognized the moment's hunger for bold commentary and used the film to satirize America's deep-rooted prejudices. The film's unfiltered approach to racism, corruption, and Western mythology was both a reflection of and reaction to its time. Rather than retreat from controversy, Brooks leaned into it, crafting scenes that forced audiences to confront bigotry by laughing at its absurdity. The movie's outrageous tone was no accident. It was a mirror held up to a culture in flux. In many ways, Blazing Saddles helped usher in a new era of comedy, one that dared to be confrontational, political, and uncomfortable without sacrificing entertainment value. Its success proved that humor could be both a weapon and a bridge in a divided world. Slim Pickens brought a unique authenticity to his role as Taggart in Blazing Saddles, a film that is known for its sharp satire and comedic brilliance. As an actor, he was already famous for his memorable performance in Dr. Strangelove, where he rode a nuclear bomb. His background as a real-life cowboy and rodeo performer influenced his approach to acting. Pickens took his role in Blazing Saddles very seriously, adopting a method acting technique that involved immersing himself deeply in the character. He reportedly chose to sleep outdoors with a rifle by his side during filming, a choice that showcased his commitment to embodying the rugged spirit of the old-school Western tough guy. This dedication not only added a gritty edge to his performance, but also raised safety concerns among the crew, who were surprised by his intense approach. Pickens' ability to blend authenticity with the film's comic exaggeration created a balance that made the satire resonate more powerfully. His performance served as a crucial anchor in the film, grounding the chaos and absurdity that surrounded him, proving that even in the most outrageous comedy, a touch of realism can enhance the overall impact. The brilliance of Blazing Saddles didn't come from one mind alone. It was the result of a volatile but inspired creative team. Mel Brooks surrounded himself with a group of writing powerhouses, including Richard Pryor, Norman Steinberg, and Andrew Bergman. Each brought a different sensibility to the table. Pryor contributed rawness and edge, Bergman provided structural expertise, and Brooks himself offered direction and manic energy. The writer's room was a mix of brilliance and chaos, often marked by heated debates, spontaneous brainstorming, and irreverent one-upmanship. But out of that madness emerged one of the sharpest, most daring scripts in film history. The team's diversity of backgrounds gave the film a multi-layered voice capable of poking fun at everything from racial stereotypes to Hollywood conventions. Their collaboration proved that comedy thrives in tension, and that a fearless script is often born from the collision of wildly different perspectives, united by a single goal to make something unforgettable. The musical aspect of Blazing Saddles was more than just background. It played a crucial role in setting the film's satirical tone. Mel Brooks wanted the theme song to sound like it belonged in a sincere, sweeping Western epic, even though it was paired with absurd visuals and outrageous content. To achieve this, he approached renowned country singer Frankie Laine, known for his heartfelt and dramatic vocal style. Brooks deliberately withheld the comedic context of the film from Laine, fearing he might turn it down if he knew it was a parody. Laine delivered a full-throated, emotionally charged performance, believing he was recording for a serious Western. The result was perfect. His earnest delivery contrasted hilariously with the film's irreverent content, adding another layer of satire. The music, rather than parodying itself, embraced traditional Western tropes, allowing the humor to emerge from the clash between form and content. This clever juxtaposition became one of the film's subtle but brilliant comedic tools. Madeline Kahn's journey to Blazing Saddles was filled with challenges. Before she was cast as Lily Von Shtupp, she faced a significant setback when she was abruptly fired from her role in Mame. This public dismissal could have derailed the career of many performers, but Kahn used her disappointment as fuel for her determination. When she finally landed the role in Mel Brooks's film, she brought not only her immense talent, but also a fierce resolve to prove herself. Brooks recognized her brilliance and granted her the creative freedom to shape her character. Kahn transformed Lily into a hilarious, seductive, and oddly touching parody of Marlene Dietrich. Her iconic performance of Bound Tired showcased her unique ability to blend vulnerability with absurdity. This remarkable talent earned her an Academy Award nomination and re-established her as one of Hollywood's top comedic stars. Khan's triumph in Blazing Saddles stands as a testament to her professional resilience and artistic brilliance, solidifying her status as one of the film's standout stars. While filming Blazing Saddles, Mel Brooks was also heavily involved in another major creative endeavor, writing for the legendary television comedy program Your Show of Shows. Brooks had long worked in TV and continued to split his attention between the screen and the stage. This period was particularly dynamic due to his collaboration with Richard Pryor, who not only contributed to the Blazing Saddles script, but also appeared in Brooks's other projects. Pryor's raw, fearless comedic voice helped redefine what was acceptable on television, and his work with Brooks injected a sense of urgency and authenticity into both mediums. This cross-pollination of talent created a creative synergy that pushed boundaries in ways that television and film hadn't yet dared. Brooks' ability to juggle both projects and share talent like Pryor across them showed his skill as a showrunner and visionary, one who thrived in controlled chaos and used it to fuel groundbreaking comedy. The blending of these two platforms allowed for innovative storytelling and humor that resonated with audiences, making this era a significant chapter in the history of comedy. One of the more unexpected consequences of Blazing Saddles' success was a legal battle involving screen legend Hedy Lamarr. The film's villain, Hedley Lamarr, played by Harvey Korman, was deliberately given a name that parodied hers, with jokes in the film poking fun at the similarity. While audiences found the recurring gag hilarious, Lamarr did not. She filed a lawsuit against Warner Brothers, claiming the unauthorized use of her name damaged her reputation. Mel Brooks later quipped that the lawsuit was the best press the movie could have gotten, but behind the scenes, the situation was serious. Rather than engage in a prolonged legal fight, the studio opted to settle the matter privately out of court. The incident became another example of the film's boundary-pushing nature. Not only was it willing to mock social conventions, but it was also bold enough to risk the ire of real-life celebrities in the name of satire. The legal dispute highlighted the fine line between comedy and personal offense, showcasing how humor can sometimes lead to unintended consequences. Despite the initial excitement surrounding the casting of Gig Young as the Waco Kid in the film Blazing Saddles, his struggles with alcoholism quickly overshadowed his potential contribution. On the first day of filming, Young's condition became apparent when he fell violently ill due to withdrawal symptoms. This incident forced the production team to make a swift decision to remove him from the set, as they feared that his ongoing issues would disrupt the filming process. The studio acted quickly to replace him with Gene Wilder, whose portrayal of the Waco Kid would ultimately become a defining moment in the film and a beloved performance in cinematic history. However, Young was not willing to accept this turn of events without a fight. He filed a lawsuit against the studio, alleging wrongful termination and claiming that his reputation had suffered as a result of their actions. The studio defended its choice, arguing that it was necessary to ensure the safety of the cast and crew, and to maintain the quality of the production. This legal battle, much like the situation involving Hedy Lamarr, was settled privately, but it highlighted the often tumultuous and dramatic nature of Hollywood productions. While Wilder's unexpected casting proved to be a fortunate turn for the film, Young's legal struggles served as a reminder of the personal challenges faced by those in the industry, revealing the human costs that can accompany the pursuit of artistic endeavors. From the moment Blazing Saddles was released, it sparked intense debate. Critics and audiences were divided over its use of offensive language and racial epithets, even though they were employed to expose and ridicule prejudice rather than to promote it. Some accused the film of going too far, arguing that the satire was too biting and could be misinterpreted. Others praised its boldness, noting that by exaggerating racism to absurd levels, Brooks forced viewers to confront its irrationality. The film's controversy wasn't limited to language, it also broke narrative conventions, including a now famous fourth wall-breaking finale that threw traditional storytelling out the window. But it was the racial satire, delivered through sharp dialogue, fearless performances, and moments of uncomfortable truth, that made the film revolutionary. In an era when most comedies played it safe, Blazing Saddles dared to say the unsayable. Its legacy is one of provocation, but also of brilliance, forever changing what satire could achieve in cinema. From its release in 1974, Blazing Saddles has ignited fierce debate over its portrayal of stereotypes and its frequent use of racial slurs. While many hailed the film as a courageous, satirical takedown of racism, others feared its humor could be misconstrued, especially by audiences not attuned to its underlying message. Critics praised the film for weaponizing comedy against bigotry, portraying racists as absurd, foolish, and dangerous. However, some cultural commentators expressed concern that viewers might miss the satire and take the offensive language at face value, inadvertently reinforcing the very prejudices the film sought to mock. The debate reflects a broader tension in comedy. Where is the line between laughing at hate and laughing with it? Brooks' intention was clear, to ridicule racism, not indulge it, but the film's razor-sharp edge meant that not everyone experienced it the same way. Its legacy remains both celebrated and controversial, a testament to how satire can spark necessary but uncomfortable conversations. The unforgettable scene where Mongo punches a horse square in the face drew instant laughter from audiences, but also backlash from animal rights groups. Although no animals were harmed during filming, and Brooks maintained that the punch was achieved with sound effects and precise editing, advocacy organizations criticized the scene for what they saw as glorifying violence against animals. They argued that the comedic context might desensitize viewers to real-world cruelty. Brooks countered these claims by emphasizing the absurdity of the moment. It was meant to be surreal, not realistic. He pointed out that the humor stemmed from its sheer implausibility, not from actual harm. Still, the controversy highlighted the fine line filmmakers must walk when using slapstick or shock comedy. Despite the criticisms, the scene became one of the most talked about moments in the film, further cementing Blazing Saddles as a comedy unafraid to provoke, even unintentionally. The discussions surrounding this scene reflect broader societal concerns about how humor interacts with sensitive topics, making it a significant point of debate in film history. Although the film Blazing Saddles was created as a sharp satire targeting racism, many viewers did not grasp its true intent. Upon its release, cast and crew members, including Mel Brooks and Cleavon Little, found themselves receiving hate mail from audiences who were offended by the film's language and imagery. These viewers failed to recognize the critical commentary woven throughout the narrative. Instead of seeing the frequent use of slurs and stereotypes as a means of mockery, some interpreted it as an endorsement of those very attitudes. This reaction highlighted the risks involved in using comedy to tackle serious social issues. The filmmakers were frustrated, believing that the satire was clear and evident. However, this situation revealed the fragile balance required for satire to be effective. For such humor to resonate, the audience must understand the underlying joke. Otherwise, the message can be misinterpreted or even weaponized against its intended purpose. These painful misunderstandings underscored the importance of bold artistic expression, even when it invites backlash from those who misinterpret the message as harmful rather than humorous. One of the reasons Blazing Saddles feels so alive and unpredictable is because many moments were completely improvised or spontaneous. A perfect example is the scene where a bystander accidentally wandered into the middle of a studio chase and was kept in the final cut. Rather than reshoot or edit the mishap out, Mel Brooks chose to leave it in, seeing it as a perfect addition to the film's chaotic energy. These unscripted moments contributed to the film's charm, blurring the lines between performance and reality. Brooks encouraged his cast to experiment with their lines and physical comedy, fostering an environment where improvisation was not only welcomed but celebrated. These unexpected elements gave the film a raw, unpolished feel that worked in its favor, matching the anarchic spirit of the script. The result was a comedy that felt spontaneous, rebellious, and constantly teetering on the edge of insanity, in the best possible way. The blend of scripted and improvised moments created a unique viewing experience that resonated with audiences, making it a timeless classic. Wilder's ad-lib genius shines brightly in Blazing Saddles, showcasing his unique talent for blending humor with depth. One of the most memorable moments comes from his improvised line, "You've got to remember, these are just simple farmers, people of the land, the common clay of the New West, you know, morons." This line, delivered with perfect deadpan timing, caught Cleavon Little off guard, resulting in a genuine laugh that made it into the final cut. This spontaneous moment has become iconic, illustrating Wilder's remarkable comedic instincts. His ability to transition from heartfelt sincerity to sharp sarcasm in an instant captures the film's absurdity and brilliance. Mel Brooks, the director, encouraged his actors to explore their characters freely, allowing Wilder's improvisations to elevate the scenes significantly. His understated performance provided a counterbalance to the film's wild energy, creating moments of subtle humor that grounded the chaos. Wilder's contributions not only enhanced the film, but also left a lasting impact on comedy. In an attempt to further parody the Western genre, Mel Brooks extended an invitation to John Wayne, the legendary symbol of American Westerns, for a cameo appearance in Blazing Saddles. Brooks envisioned Wayne appearing in the film's climactic chaos, delivering a tongue-in-cheek line that would playfully mock his own screen persona. Wayne, always polite and respectful, declined the offer. He reportedly told Brooks, "I can't do a film like that, but I'll be first in line to see it." His concern was that the film's risque and irreverent tone might conflict with the image he had cultivated over decades. Despite the rejection, Brooks held no ill will, and even appreciated the compliment hidden in Wayne's response. Had he accepted, it would have been a crowning moment of genre self-awareness. Still, the story of Wayne's near involvement adds an extra layer of irony and legend to a film already packed with subversive wit and Hollywood in-jokes. The interaction between Brooks and Wayne highlights the changing landscape of cinema during that era, where traditional westerns were being challenged by new comedic interpretations. The film itself became a landmark in comedy, pushing boundaries and redefining expectations. The absence of Wayne in the film serves as a reminder of the tension between classic Hollywood ideals and the emerging wave of more irreverent storytelling. This dynamic reflects the broader cultural shifts occurring in the 1970s, where audiences began to embrace more diverse narratives and humor. The legacy of Blazing Saddles continues to resonate, showcasing the importance of satire in film and the ways it can reflect societal changes. The missed opportunity for Wayne to participate in such a groundbreaking project remains a fascinating footnote in the history of cinema. Blazing Saddles didn't just make audiences laugh, it changed the rules of what comedy could be. Prior to its release, most mainstream comedies avoided topics like racism, systemic inequality, and cultural hypocrisy. Mel Brooks' 1974 masterpiece broke the mold, proving that humor could be a powerful tool for social commentary. With its mix of slapstick, wordplay, and brutal satire, the film held a mirror up to American society and dared viewers to laugh at their own prejudices. It took on serious issues without becoming preachy, using laughter to disarm and enlighten. The success of Blazing Saddles opened the door for a new generation of comedians to address complex subjects in bold, unfiltered ways. Its fearless blend of entertainment and activism made it a lightning rod in its time, and an enduring touchstone in the evolution of American comedy. The film's impact is still felt today, as it paved the way for future works that challenge societal norms while entertaining audiences. The ripple effect of Blazing Saddles can be seen in the work of countless modern comedians who have embraced its philosophy of using humor as a weapon against injustice. Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Sacha Baron Cohen, and the duo Key and Peele have all cited Brooks' influence, drawing from his willingness to tackle uncomfortable truths head-on. These artists are known for confronting racism, political hypocrisy, and cultural absurdities, standing on the shoulders of what Blazing Saddles accomplished. Like Brooks, they use humor to expose the ridiculousness of societal flaws, often blurring the line between shock and satire. The film's willingness to provoke, to make audiences squirm before they laugh, became a model for comedians who believe comedy should not only entertain but challenge and provoke. Blazing Saddles helped define what it means to be a socially conscious comedian in a world where laughter can still be revolutionary. Its legacy continues to inspire new generations of comedians to push boundaries and engage with important social issues through the lens of humor. Despite its initial controversy and mixed reviews from critics in the 1970s, Blazing Saddles eventually earned the critical acclaim it deserved. Over time, its daring approach and cultural significance became undeniable. The film, which was released in 1974, pushed boundaries with its bold humor and satirical take on racism and the American West. In 1996, the Library of Congress added it to the National Film Registry, recognizing it as culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. This acknowledgement marked a turning point in how the film was perceived. A decade later, the American Film Institute ranked it sixth on its list of the 100 greatest American comedies of all time, affirming its place in the comedic canon. Critics and scholars came to appreciate the film's complexity, noting how it used exaggerated humor to challenge deep-rooted societal problems. What was once seen as crude or too controversial became celebrated as visionary and fearless. Today, it is studied in film courses, praised in retrospectives, and viewed as a benchmark for political satire in cinema. In an attempt to capitalize on the film's success, Warner Brothers developed a television spin-off called Black Bart, named after Sheriff Bart's character. However, the project was doomed from the start. Crucially, Mel Brooks had no involvement, and his absence left a creative void that the show couldn't fill. The pilot episode failed to capture the subversive energy, sharp writing, or irreverent charm that made the original film so iconic. Audiences and critics alike rejected the effort, finding it watered down and uninspired. Legal issues further complicated the situation, and the show never moved beyond its initial episode. The failure of Black Bart served as a reminder that Blazing Saddles was a lightning-in-a-bottle success, one that couldn't be replicated without the original vision and audacity that Brooks brought to the project. It also reinforced how essential his voice was to the film's impact and longevity. The attempt to recreate the magic of Blazing Saddles, without its key creator, ultimately highlighted the unique qualities that made the film a classic. Decades after its release, Blazing Saddles continues to resonate with audiences old and new. Its fearless approach to comedy blends slapstick, satire, and social critique, securing its place in the pantheon of great American films. The movie's dialogue remains endlessly quotable, with lines that have become part of popular culture. Characters like Sheriff Bart and the villainous Hedley Lamar are unforgettable, each bringing a unique flavor to the story. The themes explored in the film, such as racism and the absurdity of stereotypes, are sadly still relevant today. In an age where media is often scrutinized for political correctness, the film endures as a symbol of how comedy can confront uncomfortable truths without losing its soul. Viewers revisit Blazing Saddles not only for laughs, but also to witness a masterclass in satire. The risks it took, the lines it crossed, and the conversations it started have all contributed to its mythic status. Whether seen as a product of its time or a timeless rebellion against prejudice and convention, it remains one of the boldest comedies ever created. Despite the numerous obstacles faced during its creation, the story of Blazing Saddles reveals the resilience and creativity of its team. The film's production was a battleground of ideas, where the clash between artistic vision and corporate caution was palpable. Mel Brooks's unwavering commitment to his vision allowed the film to tackle sensitive issues with humor and insight. The casting choices and script revisions were not merely logistical challenges. They were essential to crafting a narrative that resonated with audiences while provoking thought. The film's ability to address race and politics through satire was groundbreaking, making it a significant cultural touchstone. As viewers reflect on Blazing Saddles, they recognize its role in pushing the boundaries of comedy and its lasting impact on how films can engage with complex social issues. The legacy of Blazing Saddles continues to inspire filmmakers and audiences alike, reminding us of the power of humor in confronting uncomfortable